I thought Tuesday's practice was probably as good as we've had since we've been here. I thought today was really good. We'll go back and watch the tape, but I thought the energy was really good. I think our scout teams have improved so much that it really makes a huge difference for us. So I've been really pleased with those guys.
A lot of clapping there, Dan. What was the celebration for?
The guy earned his stripe. Something we've been doing this whole camp, really from the beginning of camp. That the veterans at each position determine when a guy has earned his stripe. If you see the young guys don't have stripes on their helmets, they have to earn them. So today it was Des Holmes.
Why did you guys, was it something the leadership council wanted to do or you wanted to do? How did that idea?
Something that I read in a book, the book Legacy. We talk about giving these guys kind of feedback of when they're starting to kind of figure it out based on our standards and expectations, but to give them something tangible to say, look, you're really doing a good job for us. It's something I really kind of wanted to do year one, but I didn't really know how to implement it because you take the stripes off the veterans, so we didn't want to do that, but we just figured let's start doing it now, and then 4 years from now, everybody's kind of gone through it, and you say, well, it took me 3 weeks to earn my stripe, or it took me 2 months to earn my stripe, or whatever it is. But it's something I've been wanting to do since year one, so we finally came up with something that we were all comfortable with, that is just all new players into the program.
What sorts of things, James, go into it? Is it just on the field, or is it?
No, it's everything. It's how they are in meetings. It's how respectful they are of the senior players, how coachable. Are they going to class consistently? Are they working hard in the weight room? It's everything. It's basically the veteran leadership players that we have, basically are saying, you're doing a really good job, and I'm comfortable with the direction you're headed in terms of how we do things around here at Penn State. And it's something that each position and each position coach are kind of handling on their own. They may make it a big deal at the end of practice and do it that way. They may do something in their position room. It's however they want to handle it, kind of a rites of passage type of deal.
What's the response been from the team? Have they embraced it?
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, it's been really good. Again, we're handling it position by position. Like, as you guys know, it's not like I made this decision on my own. It was something I talked to the leadership council about and said, this is something I'd like to do. I think it'd be important, and this is why. They were on board with it. So as you guys know, I don't make too many decisions in a vacuum.
James, for some context, how many guys since the start can have earned their strips?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not keeping track of it because it's really not something that we're running as coaches. It's position specific, but if I had to guess, I'd probably say 6 or 7, but I'm not really sure on that. Again, we're not tracking it.
James, today Blake Gillikin said he wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon after football.
Who did you say?
Blake Gillikin?
Yeah.
Have you talked about that with him specifically, and then how often do you talk to your players about what their aspirations are after football?
Yeah, we talk about it obviously during the recruiting process a whole lot. And then I think once they get here, a lot of them think they have a really good idea of what they want to do. And then they get here and start taking it, no different than any other college student, and maybe it's not what they thought it was. So I think you have that conversation during the recruiting process, and then basically by their sophomore year, they better have figured out what they want to do, and then they're kind of headed in that direction. So that conversation will happen again at that point, and then once they kind of figure out what they want to do and they're doing some things academically, then that's where our player development program kicks in, and now we want them to start to network and internships and things like that. So probably 3 conversations, one during the recruiting process, one about their sophomore year when they're declaring a major, and then now when they're a junior or senior and are starting to realize that real life is coming and I need to get prepared for it.
James, are you guys wearing different helmets, or they kind of look different, or is it just me?
No, you probably see some of the linemen have the extra shell, but we've wore those for 3 years. That's part of a concussion study that we've been a part of for 3 years, so that's not different.
James, last year you guys won 5-point tosses and received on all 5. So far this year you won both when you're deferring. Is that just by chance, or is the kind of managing that aspect of game management?
Yeah, it's gut. It's my gut feel. I usually talk to Brent and Joe and get their input on it before. Some of it deals with weather, what the weather is going to be like if it's a rainy day, and I feel like the game conditions will get sloppier in the second half. I want to take the ball early in the game where we still have control, where the weather's not going to be too bad, it doesn't become a sloppy game, or the style of offense that we're playing on the other team, whether they're a ball control offense or whether they're spread. So a lot of different things kind of go into it.
James, you're in an interesting position where you only have a few slots left for this recruiting class. How much time per day are you spending on this actual class, and how much time are you spending on future classes at this point?
Yeah, it's probably similar to what we've been every year. I think, for the last couple of years, we've had most of our class done before the season started. So we want to keep in track with those guys. We got a handful of guys that we're still recruiting in this class. And then we have, obviously, the next class that we're actively involved in and trying to build those relationships with now. So, I would say probably 30 to 40% of our time is on this current class, and 60 to 70% of our time is on the next class. And I'd say typically that's probably the case.
Coach, how big of a recruiting tool is a packed Beaver Stadium like it was this past Saturday when you've got young players there maybe for the first time? They look around them, they see the atmosphere. How much did that play to your advantage?
I think it's dramatic, and I know that not because of now, because I've always been on the other end of it, and I know what you'd be amazed what a packed stadium does, what fans on Twitter do. It makes a huge impact. So when you're able to say 109,000, that's something that really differentiates us. We use that 107K since we've been here. That's something I'm passionate about. When you're above kind of 102, you differentiate yourself, and I think that's what we're all trying to do in any industry, in any business, is find a way to differentiate yourself, and Beaver Stadium allows us to do that in its current model. So that's obviously something that's important to us, and I know it makes a huge impact in recruiting. There's very few venues in all of sports, football, not just football, all sports. There's very few venues like that.
James, looking at Coach Huff, in what way has he had the biggest impact on the success of the running backs the last few years? What about his coaching style stands out to you the most?
Well, he's a guy that is really taken kind of, I asked these guys to be the head coach of their position, and he's done an unbelievable job of that. They have a really strong culture in their room. They got really high standards. Those guys do not miss class. If not, they got to deal with Huff. He is really kind of built a real strong standard from that standpoint. The way they practice, the way they support each other, the way they encourage each other. He's done a really good job of kind of building a standard in his room, and they've all bought into it. I think it helps when you got a guy, obviously, like Saquon Barkley, that is a tremendous leader on and off the field. That helps. No different than I remember when I was with the Green Bay Packers and Donald Driver did that for me. So he's done a really good job. And I think he's done the same thing on a bigger scale, obviously, with special teams. I mean, you look at our improvement from the time we got here till now. I think Charles Huff has done a tremendous job for us. The same thing in recruiting. You look at, in recruiting, we're in his area, his recruiting area, we're always on the top guys. You look at running backs, we're always on the top guys, and you get great feedback from the parents and the recruits about him as well.
Coach, Blake Gillikin seemed to have a really good game on Saturday. I think 5 out of 6 of his punts put Pitt behind the 20, including 2 that put him at or behind the 5, and obviously one of which went for the safety. What kind of value does that add to the team?
Huge. Blake, I think we all realized last year the difference, having a big-time punter makes, in terms of field position for both your offense and your defense. He's continued, I think, on a real strong path this year as well, but I think the other thing is our coverage units have really taken another step. So, you combine a really good punter with really good athleticism in your coverage units, it helps. It sets you up for success. So I'm really excited about his future. Like was talking about, he's pre-med major. He's in the Schreier's Honors College. He's kind of the whole package. And it's interesting. His parents have done a great job. He's got a brother who's the starting long snapper at Northwestern. Obviously, another really good academic school. So, really the whole package.
Did you guys pursue his brother? Did you guys pursue his brother at all as a walk-on potential?
No, they wanted to go to separate schools. They did not want to go to the same school.
Coach, you mentioned Etor. said 5 games really where you feel like he'll make a big impact in the rotation or more expanded. Did he show you something maybe week 2 that could expedite that process? I know you mentioned it for that hustle play and showing the team.
Yeah, I think when I say game 5, that's kind of like a general benchmark that if you decide to play a true freshman, you're hopeful that by game 5 that they've gained enough experience that they really start to factor in. Some guys are going to be able to make impacts from game 1. Some guys it's going to take to game 7. It just kind of depends, but he is showing more and more flashes of what he can do. The scary thing is, typically guys don't start to play really fast and really aggressive until they're confident with what they're doing. And I think he's only going to get more aggressive and more explosive as he gets confident with his assignments. Right now he's thinking a lot. They trade the tight end, they motion, all these things affect his assignment, and he's thinking a little bit right now. I think he's done a really good job of not allowing all those different assignments and different formations and different things that he's seeing to kind of paralyze him. He's playing really fast and really aggressive, but he's got a skill set. He's got length, he's got strength, he's got athleticism. I think he's got a really bright future for us.